Okay, so this is the part 2 of the series of lecture for chapter 7. In this video lecture, I will be discussing about the price volatility characteristics of the bonds, and in particular, the price volatility characteristics of an option-free bond. If you remember, in chapter number 2, we have discussed few factors or few variables which can impact the price volatility of the bonds. Those were one, the maturity of the bond. The longer the maturity, higher will be the volatility. The coupon rate, the higher the coupon, the higher will be the volatility of the bond. And finally, the embedded option. The bond with an embedded option will have a higher volatility, higher price volatility as compared to a bond with an option-free bond. So if you focus on this data here, this is the price yield relationship for 4 hypothetical option-free bonds. If you focus on this data here, and if you can see, what I did is I have calculated the prices of 4 bonds. One 6% 5-year bond, 6% 20-year bond, 9% 5-year bond, and 9% 20-year bond. So if you can see, so I have a bond with the same coupon but different duration. I have different maturity, and I have a bond with same maturity but different coupon rates, right? So you can notice that for all of these bonds, the yield price relationship or the price yield relationship is negative. As this yield goes up, the prices of all of these bonds goes down. Obviously, for some bonds, the price decline is more sharp as compared to the other bonds, and we will be discussing these relationships shortly. So the main thing to understand here is we can clearly see there is a negative relation between the price of a bond and the yield. So as yield goes up, the prices goes down. Okay. You can also see that this relationship is not linear. So the changes in the percentage change in the yield and decline in price is not of the same magnitude. We will discuss this in detail. Here you can see the what I have did is I have calculated percentage changes in the prices. What I assumed is that the original yield is 6%. So compared to that 6%, what happens when yield decreases or yield increases? When yield decreases, the prices goes up. You can see all of these positive values here, no matter what is the yield, the coupon rate of the bond or the maturity of the bond. And when yield goes up, prices goes down, no matter what is the coupon rate or maturity of the bond. Here you can see 4 main properties. Although the property number 1 is that although the prices moves in the opposite direction from the changes in the yield, the percentage price change is not same for all of the bonds. Although these are in the opposite directions, the percentage price change, for example, from 6% to 4%, here it is 8.98%, here 27.36, 8.57, and 25.04. So it's not same, right? So the first is that the effect is not linear. Second, for small changes in the yield, the percentage price change for a given bond is roughly the same whether the yield increases or decreases. So let's suppose this is the 6% is our base. So that if yield increase by 1 basis point or decreases by 1 basis point, the percentage price change is same for this bond, plus 4% minus 4%, for this bond plus 12 minus 12 plus 4 minus 4 plus 11 and minus 11. So these for the small changes in the yield, the percentage price changes for positive, for increase and decrease are the same. Property number 3 is for large changes in yield, the percentage price changes is not the same. And the property number 4 is the percentage price increase is greater than the percentage price decrease. So first of all, for the large price changes, so for example from 6.5 to 7, or which is equivalent to from 5.5 to 5, you can see the percentage price changes, or sorry, so if I consider from 6 to 6.5, 6 to 6.5, this is minus 2.1 and this is 2.16. And if I consider 6 to 7 and 6 to 5, this is 4.38, this is 4.16, and so on. So the fourth property is that the percentage price increase is more as compared to percentage price decrease in the bonds. Finally, you can see that these are very some very important properties. The last two things which I have said is basically depend on the how much the curve is convex. Let me move to the whiteboard and talk about the convexity of the price yield curve. Okay, so as I said, the property number 3 and property number 4, that the percentage price change for an increase and decrease in yield curve is not same, and the percentage price changes or the percentage price increase is more as compared to the percentage price decrease for the same magnitude of change in the yield. Let's focus on this curve. So the Y and P are the initial points, and you can see this curve here. The Y1 is obviously you can see the lower yield, and P1 is the price at your lower yield. Y2 is the higher yield, and P2 is the price of the security at higher yield. You can see that the yield is decreased from Y to Y1 and increase from Y to Y2. And this increase and decrease in the yield is same. So this is the same magnitude of change here, which is negative, is same as compared to the magnitude of change here, which is basically Y1, Y minus Y1 equals to Y2 minus Y, equal basis point change. But you can see that the vertical distance from the horizontal axis, the yield to the intercept on the graph shows the price. And you can see the changes in the initial price when the yield decline from Y to Y1 is high as compared to the when yield increases from Y to Y2. This is so that the change in the price from P2 minus P and from P1 minus P is not same. So basically P1 minus P is greater than the P1 minus P is greater than the P2 minus P, right? So that's what I was referring to. That the implication of the property 4 is that if investor owns a bond, the capital gain that will be realized if the yield increases is greater than the capital loss that will be realized if the yield increases by the same number of basis points. This is inverse for the issuers or for a person who have sold or shorted the bond. The potential capital loss is greater than the potential capital gain if the yield changes by the given number. So the more convex the shape of a price yield of a bond, the more this is true what we are talking about. Exhibit 8 in the chapter, or you can see exhibit 8 here, uh, shows a less convex price yield relationship as compared to the exhibit 7. That is, the price yield relationship in exhibit 8 is exhibit 7 is this, in this exhibit is more bowed towards the origin as compared to this, which is the less bowed or less convex towards the origin. Because of the difference in these convexities, look what happens when the yield increases or decreases by the same number of the basis points, and the yield change is so you can now see that although this is a higher price change for the same percentage change in yield, but this is not much higher as compared to this. This is only because this is, we are talking about a less convex curve for the price yield relationship. And again, here you can see this is more convex than the initial graph we have seen. Here, this is the initial, this is convex, this is less convex, and this is the more convex. These are basically the exhibit 7, 8, and 9 in our chapter number 7. So more convex means more price change as compared to the less convex curve. So these were the main characteristics or the price volatility characteristics of an option free bond. See you in video lecture for these price volatility characteristics of an embedded option bond.